This is stopping progress, which is making Wisconsin and the United States overall less competitive globally.
Federal rulings this week have been back and forth on the National Institutes of Health's ability to award funding and review grants. Arman Rahman spoke with biochemists who say it's throwing their life-saving work into uncertainty.
Biochemists here at the University of Wisconsin-Madison tell me that the uncertain future of their funding from the National Institutes of Health is plunging their life-saving work into uncertainty.
It's impossible to predict, and it's also impossible to plan for the future.
Aaron Hoskins and his small lab work on gene expression, making sense of what we may find senseless, and finding solutions.
Diseases like spinal muscular atrophy, all the way to things that could go wrong with potatoes becoming infected with blight.
Most recently, they published a paper on the therapeutic effects of drugs that treat spinal muscular atrophy.
Without taking these drugs, these children who are born with SMA would either be very severely handicapped or potentially they would have died.
But now he's looking for answers that can't be found in a test tube. His current NIH grant ends April 30th, and he's waiting on an advisory council to renew it in May.
Whether or not that can actually happen due to a lot of uncertainty surrounding the NIH and their ability to hold meetings that can actually authorize funding.
75% of his lab's budget comes from NIH, broken down into direct costs like graduate students, lab staff, and experiments, and indirect costs like safety, budget management, and regulatory oversight.
And they pay for other things like keeping the lights on.
And more than just the grants are in jeopardy.
I've already had to turn down several students, both high school students and current UW undergraduates who wanted to work in my lab over the summer. And if this position, scenario persists, then that may mean that people will have to be let go from my laboratory.
He says that gap in experienced workers could take generations to make up.
This is stopping progress, which is making Wisconsin and the United States overall less competitive globally.
But with even NIH workers he talked to in the dark, all he can do is remain optimistic.
It's really heartbreaking. We're doing science for others.
Last year, half of UW-Madison's research contributions came from agencies like NIH, the National Science Foundation, and the Department of Defense.